Coming to you from the mountains and the plain, the only conservative voices brave enough to push back. This is the Conservative Daily Podcast with Joe Otto.
That's what the Second Amendment was designed to do. If you're going to do something to nullify or take away my rights under the Constitution, come get it.
Max McGuire.
When you look at politicians on the left, they need to convince people that they are victims.
A resistance to the resistance. And now your hosts, Joe Otto and Max McGuire.
And welcome back to another edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. My name is Max McGuire. Joe Otto is out today, and our producer, Josh, who everyone loves, he is on vacation. So I am producing the podcast myself today, so apologies in advance if anything seems choppy. I do not have someone at my beck and call to be able to pull the cuts, but I have them all in front of me. I've recreated our whole podcast layout, so we should be good here. So we're going to talk today about what happened in Portland last night. Not last night, over the weekend, because it really is egregious. Anyone who doesn't know, a Trump supporter was killed. He was killed. His name was Jay Bishop. Apparently that was an alias. He went by other names, but everyone online is talking to him as Jay Bishop. I want to put his picture up. Let me put his picture up. Let me download it. Sorry. It's going to be a little wonky today because I'm running today's podcast on my own. Jay Bishop. He was a Trump supporter. Throw his image on the screen. Here we go. Jay Bishop. He was there with an organization called Patriot Prayer. Patriot Prayer is being slandered as some kind of fascist far-right organization, but the truth is that Patriot Prayer is basically an organization that was created to oppose Antifa in Portland. So they hold pro-free speech rallies in Portland. They basically go up against Antifa. They are not some fascist organization. They are not Nazis. I've seen reporting that suggests that there's only probably 15 to 20 people that are actually in Patriot Prayer. It's not this crazy organization the way the mainstream media is making it out to be. He was killed. And we're going to talk about who he was, what happened to him. We're going to talk about his killer. And I'm very reluctant. I'm very reluctant to name him because typically we don't like to name people who are accused of these kinds of crimes because we don't want to give them the fame that they want. But we're going to do it because this guy, this suspect, I want to make sure I preface this. This is a suspect. He is being investigated. He is suspected of allegedly killing Jay Bishop on the streets of Portland over the weekend. I want to make sure I completely preface that because we don't know yet. But let's go ahead and put his image up. I'm going to make sure that I pronounce his name right. His name is Michael Forrest Reinl, 48 years old. He is the man currently being investigated for the murder. And his name was uncovered by people online, by people on a website called 4chan, who went through all of the video footage, people who have been watching the riots in Portland nightly for weeks, who have actually become, just by watching on a first-name basis, with many of these perpetrators. But that is the man suspected of killing Jay Bishop. Now, I want to be very clear. We have a video of the killing. I think at this point, everyone has seen it. I think at this point, everyone has seen the shooting. I am torn of whether to show it because we are kind of in a catch-22 here. If I show the footage, of Jay Bishop being shot, Facebook will label our stream as graphic. They'll do it. They'll label this stream as being graphic. I wasn't going to do this. Let me pull up what they did to us over the weekend, because this was pretty incredible. We posted about Jay's murder. And let me get it. Facebook decided to censor an image. So we shared the image that many people have probably seen. It was the image of Jay on the ground. Didn't show his face or anything like that. We just showed his cargo shorts. Because on his bag, being held on the side of his shorts, it was like a drop bag. It was a bag that was basically being strapped to his leg. I basically, it's like a magazine dump bag. Anyone who's ever received firearm training or been in the military. On that bag, he had a patch, a Blue Lives Matter patch. So we shared that image because it's important. That was the earliest evidence we'd seen that he was a conservative, that he was a Trump supporter, because he had a Blue Lives Matter patch on his bag. We put that image on our Facebook page over the weekend. And this is how Facebook labeled it to people who were trying to see it. They said that this photo may be sexually suggestive or show partial nudity. That's how Facebook did it. We didn't want to post the graphic images because we wanted to respect him, but we also knew that we needed to post some kind of image that showed that he was actually a conservative. And when we did, Facebook declared that it was sexually suggestive for partial nudity. What nudity was there? You can see his calves in the picture, and you can see a little bit of his navel, not in a suggestive way, but because his shirt was pulled up when he was on the ground. So Facebook basically censored our entire setup, our entire post about it this weekend, because a little bit of skin was showing. And that skin was his shins, was his calf muscle. Pretty shameful. So we're in a position where we obviously need to talk about this today. Let me take this off the screen. We need to talk about this today, obviously. We can't let this go. We can't let this go untalked about. But we're in a position where if I share that video with you today, Facebook will label this stream as graphic, or they'll find some way to say it's sexually suggestive, and no one will see it. But if I don't show the video, then how can we possibly cover what happened? That is the catch-22 that we find ourselves in today. So I want to ask you guys to do something. I want to ask you guys to do three things. I want you to like this video. I want you to share this video. And I want you to continue commenting on this video. Most importantly, I want you to share this video, because we're going to show the video clip of the shooting later on. We're going to show it on this page because it is newsworthy. We're not going to zoom in. We're not going to let you see any blood or anything like that. It is newsworthy. So we're going to show it, but I can't show it right away, because if I do, no one will see our post, because Facebook will basically say it's graphic. They'll take it out of people's news feeds, and people who do see it won't be able to actually see my video. They'll just see a graphic warning on top of my face. So please, please, please hit that share button now. I'm going to ask you a bunch of times over the course of this video. And if you hit it once, you don't have to hit it multiple times. But please do share. Because once we do play that video later on in the show, Facebook's algorithm will label us as graphic. It's not human beings that do this. It's their algorithms. Enough people have reported this video clip that when someone else shares it, it just automatically gets pegged as graphic. So please hit the share button, please like the video, and please continue commenting. We're going to show the video towards the end. But as I said, I can't show it right now because then no one will see. Our show's for an hour. We can't share it right in the beginning, then the whole thing will be for nothing. Okay. So we're going to talk about Jay Bishop. We're going to talk about his killer, this Michael Reinl, alleged suspected killer. But I also want to talk about Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, because Ted Wheeler is truly scum. I'm sorry. If you disagree, go ahead and write in the comment section if you don't think he is scum. Amanda says, "Hey Max, guess who's off their second bid in the Facebook Big House?" Congratulations, Amanda. Congratulations. We don't get banned. I've never been banned, but people who follow us and like us and watch us get banned. It's interesting how that works, isn't it? I want to talk about what Ted Wheeler said yesterday. Because what Ted Wheeler said yesterday is the most despicable response to a shooting I've ever seen. Ted Wheeler's remarks were a couple minutes long, and it took him 2 minutes and 56 seconds to start blaming President Trump for the shooting in his city. And the blame game that Ted Wheeler went about spewing was full of so many lies. So many lies. Things that have been debunked years ago. So we're going to play some of his remarks, and I'm going to fact check him because no one seems to fact check him. Democrats are able to say these lies with impunity. No one fact checks him. Like, how many times have you heard the lie that Donald Trump said that neo-Nazis were fine people? No one ever gets fact checked. So we're going to play a few of his remarks, and we're going to fact check him because it truly is despicable what Ted Wheeler did yesterday. Here's the beginning of Ted Wheeler's diatribe, where he says that Donald Trump is a racist.
Engaging the public as we proceed to engage in that hard work together. Yesterday's events began with hundreds of cars filled with supporters of the president rallying in Clackamas County and then driving through downtown Portland. They were supported and energized by the president himself. President Trump, for 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on black people.
So that is how he started his remarks, saying that Donald Trump for 4 years has shown that he has had racist attacks against black people. Now, I don't see that. I watched the RNC. Anyone who watched it on our channel, we had thousands of people that watched us over the last 2 weeks for the RNC and the DNC. We saw a lot of black people supporting Trump. We saw black people on camera saying that Donald Trump is not a racist. They've known him for decades. And anyone that insinuates that Trump is a racist is a liar. But that is how the Portland mayor started his remarks, claiming that the reason Jay Bishop got shot in his city was because for 4 years, Donald Trump was a racist against black people. Now, I want to be clear. If you use this kind of logic against someone who, say, gets sexually assaulted, the left will proclaim that you are victim blaming. I mean, you can't blame, like if you were to say that, like, someone, oh, you shouldn't have been wearing a really short skirt. Say, oh no, you can't. It's not their fault that they did that. It's the person who assaulted them. I mean, that's obvious, right? If someone wears a short skirt and goes out at night, it's not their fault if they get attacked. It's the person who does the attacking. I see similar logic here, but in reverse, where Ted Wheeler is blaming Donald Trump for his own Democrat voters rioting, attacking people, and in this case, killing someone. But I don't see Donald Trump as a racist. I don't see him spending 4 years with racist attacks against black people. Here's Ted Wheeler blaming Donald Trump's sexist attitudes towards women for the shooting over the weekend.
We learned early about your sexist attitudes towards women.
So that came up during the original. I mean, I feel like we're just going through like a greatest hits of Democrat CNN lies against the president. Donald Trump has been accused of this for years. And Donald Trump's response has always been that he doesn't hate women, but that he doesn't hate women. Like, he's surrounded by women in his administration, right? Democrats, they do this. Whenever Donald Trump attacks someone, they isolate who that person is, either their gender, their race, whatever. So if he attacks someone who's a woman, Democrats say, oh, you just attacked women, as if whoever he attacked symbolizes all women. They go down the list. They do it for everyone. Donald Trump famously, during his debate during the GOP primary in 2015, 2016, said, no, I'm not sexist towards women. I only am mean to Rosie O'Donnell. And obviously that was a joke because you can go through his history and find more people he's been mean to. The point is that he isn't mean to someone because of the genitals between their legs. He's mean to them because most of the time they're idiots. And the rest of the time they're just spewing bad policy proposals. But that's what the Democrats claim, that because Donald Trump has had sexist attitudes towards women, that means that apparently it's a justification for someone getting murdered in Portland. And these videos I'm playing of Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, they are not edited to remove context. Everything you're about to see are chronological. I've just edited it to break it up to make it easier to talk about. So I'm not pausing and going back. All these clips are chronological. This is where Ted Wheeler apparently blames Donald Trump mocking a disabled man back in 2016 as one of the reasons that that Jay Bishop was shot and killed.
We've had to endure clips of you mocking a disabled man.
So this is probably one of the oldest lies that Donald Trump has ever had told about him. And I actually have to look it up because I don't remember the name of the reporter. It's been that long. It has been that long. We're talking about something that Trump did in 2015 that has just kept going. Kept going. So let me show you his face. Actually, I'm not even going to do it. The reporter's name is Sergey Kovaleski. Sergey Kovaleski suffers from arthrogryposis, a condition which limits the movements of his joints. And the left has claimed since 2015 that Donald Trump mocked him because of his disability. This is one of the oldest lies in the book, folks. Absolutely one of the oldest lies in the book. Let me go ahead and put this on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. This is what the left loves to bring up. I can't believe that the Portland mayor is actually doing this. I can't believe it. I can't believe that he went through this whole diatribe of blaming Trump for all these things in the most ridiculous ways. Let me find it. Here we go. So this is the picture that always makes the rounds. I pulled that off of Snopes. Sergey Kovaleski is on the left. Donald Trump is on the right. The left claims that Donald Trump mocked this reporter because of his disability. It's a lie. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stalling because I'm trying to get all the things. As I mentioned at the top, I don't have a producer today. My producer, Josh, is on vacation. Happy for him. Not so happy that I have to do it on my own, but we're going to manage. But that is the picture of Sergey Kovaleski, a disabled reporter that the left loves to claim Donald Trump mocked. The problem is that movement that Donald Trump does, he does that anytime he tells a story about someone who has been flustered or caught in a lie, right? Or caught in a situation they don't want to be in. He goes like, oh, I can't believe it. They screen grabbed it. I'll put it on the screen again. That movement, like, oh, I can't believe it. Oh my God. It's a silly movement, but Donald Trump does it anytime he's telling a story about someone who got flustered. They screen grabbed it in that moment to make it look like Donald Trump was making fun of this reporter. Here is a montage. Actually, Fox News put this together before they went downhill. This is a montage of all of the different people during the 2016 campaign that Donald Trump made fun of in this manner. And then the last one, you can see him talking about this disabled reporter. And you make the judgment. Is he mocking his disability, or is that just what he does whenever he's telling a story about someone who's flustered? Let's watch.
And we'll get some of these regulators out of the banks so you can borrow and you can help. Because, you know, the banks now, they can't do anything. They're run by the regulators. In all fairness to the banks, they're run by the regulators. When you see the president of the bank, I mentioned the word regulator, these guys come in, they run the banks. And I watched a general recently on television, and they said to him, what do you think about ISIS? Oh, ISIS is very tough. And I'm saying, first of all, why is a general on television? I don't want my generals on television.
I heard Ted's a good debater. I said, he is a good debater, but he can't talk, okay? Bad talker. He's a good debater, bad talker. So he's over here. They asked him about waterboarding. They said, Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding? I don't want to talk about it. You know, he didn't want to talk about waterboarding because too controversial. And I'm saying to myself, they're chopping off heads. He doesn't want to talk about waterboarding.
A couple of good paragraphs. And talking about northern New Jersey draws the prober's eye. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. I thought, oh, maybe that's what I said. This is 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction. 14 years ago, they did no retraction.
So that last one was him mocking the reporter who happened to be disabled. And as that video shows, Donald Trump isn't mocking him for his disability. That is just the weird thing he does with his arms. Anytime he's telling a story of someone who's been caught in a situation they wish they weren't in and they're caught off guard. But the media twists it to, instead of showing you that context, claiming that this is what Donald Trump did to make fun of a reporter because of his disability. It's just a lie. So now we have Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler trotting out this 2016 4-year-old lie to smear the president and to blame him for what's going on. Okay, we have a troll. Michelle McGee. Let's do Troll Patrol live. When he marries. Okay, so Michelle McGee, right now, you're getting banned, and I want to make sure you understand why you're getting banned. You're getting banned because you refer to women as what? And we are told by the left you cannot do that. That's dehumanizing. You said what he marries in reference to Trump. You can't do that, Michelle, so you're banned. Let's get back on track. It's going to be hard doing Troll Patrol because I'm also my producer. I'm also the on-camera talent, and I'm also on Troll Patrol. So keep calling out the trolls. You might have to do it a few times for me to see it because I've got my eyes everywhere today. And as I mentioned at the start, we're talking about what happened in Portland. And I have video of it. I'm sure you've all seen the video. I can't play the video because the minute I play the video, Facebook's algorithms will say that this podcast is graphic content. And they will block people from seeing it and essentially making this all pointless, a pointless endeavor. So we're in a catch-22. I can't talk about Portland without showing the footage because it's stupid. I can't show it because then Facebook will ensure no one can see it. So we're going to show that, but we're going to show it towards the end. So if you haven't seen it, stick around. Most of you have probably seen it by now, but that's why we haven't played that yet. I'm trying to get more people to watch and hear what I'm saying before Facebook drops the ban hammer on me. Here we go. This is Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler accusing Donald Trump of anti-democratic attacks against journalists, as if that's the reason that Jay Bishop was killed.
We've had to listen to your anti-democratic attacks on journalists.
Does anyone believe that? So, journalists are not actually part of our democracy. They like to think they are. I mean, a healthy journalist industry, like healthy journalism, is important to a democracy, right? It's an important part, but so is civil society, right? But journalists are important. They actually believe, though, that they are essential. No, Donald Trump makes fun of fake news reporters, people who for years spew the nonsense that Donald Trump colluded with Russia, right? Fake news. It's not undemocratic to call out fake news. It's very democratic. First of all, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And if you are going to define us as a democracy, you'd have to do it correctly, which is a representative democracy, right? Or a democratic republic. But we're not a democracy. Democracy is every person votes and majority rules. No, we are not a democracy, and for a very good reason. Democracies are mob rule, and democracies fail. Every country that's tried a straight democracy has failed. No, we're not a democracy because the founders feared mob rule specifically. Anyway, that's a sidetrack. Here is Ted Wheeler claiming that Donald Trump said Mexicans are rapists, and that's why Jay Bishop got shot.
We've read your tweets slamming private citizens to the point of receiving death threats, and we've listened to your attacks on immigrants. We've listened to you label Mexicans rapists.
So what Donald Trump said when he came down that escalator back in 2015, he ran for president, he basically insinuated that Mexico was sending us their criminals, which there is evidence to suggest that Mexico, rather than dealing with their criminals, or encouraged them to come north. That's a real accusation. Just like when people enter Mexico illegally across their southern border, for years, they had been helping funnel them north to us because they would rather us take care of them than them have to deal with them. What Donald Trump said when he came down that escalator is that Mexico is sending us rapists, murderers, and he said, and some I assume are good people. He never claimed that all Mexicans are rapists. That's the biggest lie that has ever been told about Donald Trump. And it's just as I mentioned, it's this idea that if Donald Trump criticizes someone, the left reduces that person down to their basic identity and then claims that Donald Trump insulted that entire identity. It's identity politics. Donald Trump never said that Mexicans are rapists, but he did say that some Mexicans are rapists and that some are being funneled across the border into our country. Biggest lie, one of the biggest lies. This one is true. It's a true statement, but it has nothing to do with Jay Bishop being shot. Here is Ted Wheeler trying to make the connection between Jay Bishop getting shot and Donald Trump saying that John McCain isn't a real hero because he was captured.
We've heard you say that John McCain wasn't a hero because he was a prisoner of war.
So it's a true statement. Donald Trump said that John McCain isn't a hero. He likes his heroes who aren't captured. And honestly, if we're going to go through all the things Donald Trump has ever said, that's probably one of the statements I like the least. Right? Because typically, POWs are considered heroes because of what they go through for their country. Now, I don't think that John McCain is a hero in any way, shape, or form because of all of the crap that he put this country through over the years. I don't consider him a hero, not because of what he did during the war. I consider him not to be a hero because of what he did to this country. But that has nothing to do with Jay Bishop getting shot. Let's be honest for a second. What does that possibly have to do with Jay Bishop getting shot? What does Donald Trump remarking in 2015 that he doesn't consider John McCain to be a war hero because he likes his heroes to not get captured? What does that have to do with an Antifa thug, someone who we're about to talk about, says he is, quote, 100% Antifa? That is how this Michael guy considers himself, 100% Antifa. How does Donald Trump talking about John McCain in 2015 have anything to do with Jay Bishop getting shot? I have no idea, but that is how Ted Wheeler rolled out his press conference yesterday. But we're not done. We're not done. Here is Ted Wheeler accusing Donald Trump of attacking Democrat mayors. Again, something that's true. But then also saying that Donald Trump is to blame for the violence racking our cities.
And now you're attacking Democratic mayors and the very institutions of democracy that have served this nation well since its founding. Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence?
I will say that I love with these clips, I love when you have the sign language interpreter, because sign language interpreters are supposed to be very animated with their faces, because that's one of the ways that people who are deaf can interpret what's going on. It gives context. You have Ted Wheeler giving this stone cold straight speech, and next to him is this interpreter who's doing a good job. I mean, I don't sign, but it looks like he's doing a good job. Basically wearing all the emotions on his sleeve, as it were. That I think it's a very interesting way to look at it. Yeah, no, I mean, Donald Trump is attacking Democrat mayors. Absolutely. They're not some part of our democracy. I mean, the way that Ted Wheeler is talking about him and other Democrat mayors who are basically issuing stand-down orders is like that's how the country should be run. But to say that it's Donald Trump's fault, that he caused this, that it's his fault, it's just factually inaccurate. Right? Donald Trump, every city that Donald Trump has offered to send federal agents or extra federal personnel into, those cities has seen their violence decline. The ones that are violent for 3 straight months, every night, like we're seeing in Portland, Seattle, Chicago, New York, the terrible violence in New York, those are all cities and all states that have declined Donald Trump's assistance for political reasons. They don't want Donald Trump to be able to get victory. They would rather their residents keep killing themselves than let Donald Trump be able to claim victory for solving it. Every city, every state that has accepted Donald Trump's help has seen the violence stop very quickly. I mean, look at Kansas City. Operation Legend. Donald Trump sent 200 officers in. And within a week, they caught, I don't think it was 200. He sent officers in. Within a week, they caught 200 criminals. They have now caught the guy who killed Legend Taliaferro, that young boy who was shot by a stray bullet. Every city that's accepted Trump's help has seen the violence decline. So to say it's Trump's fault when people like Ted Wheeler say no thanks. I mean, it was amazing. Ted Wheeler, let me find it. Ted Wheeler, he sent Trump an open letter. He sent Trump an open letter when Trump offered, here we go. He sent Trump an open letter. Let's see if this is a good enough resolution. Hopefully it is. He sent Trump an open letter after Trump offered to send federal assistance. I don't know if you can read this. I'll read it for you. There we go. Dear President Trump, yet again, you said you offered to aid Portland by sending in federal law enforcement to our city. On behalf of the city of Portland, no thanks. We don't need your politics of division and demagoguery. Portlanders are onto you. We have already seen your reckless disregard for human life and your bumbling response to the COVID pandemic. Again, what does that have to do with the violence racking his city? And we know you've reached the conclusion that images of violence or vandalism are your only ticket to re-election. I'm not going to read the rest of it because honestly, this man is scum. But he just admitted that one of the reasons he is not letting federal agents and federal personnel into the city to help quell the violence and the rioting is because he thinks it will help Trump get reelected. That's how scummy Democrats are, folks. They know what it takes to put down these riots. They don't want to do it because they don't want Trump to look like the victor. Again, I'm going to ask you, please hit the share button. Please like the video. Please continue commenting. The reason, as I said, we haven't shown yet what happened, the video, is because when we do, this is what Facebook does. They label us as sexually suggestive or partial nudity. They say we're graphic. They basically throw whatever they can at it to stop people from seeing the truth. So we are holding off on showing that video until towards the end of the podcast today. So please, please, please do share the video if you haven't already. Here is Ted Wheeler saying that Jay Bishop was shot and killed, insinuating, because Donald Trump won't say the names of black men who have been killed by police.
It's you who have created the hate and the division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of black people killed by police officers, even as people in law enforcement have.
So that's a lie. That's just a lie. It took me all 5 minutes to download, edit, and cut this video, courtesy of NBC News, of Donald Trump not only saying George Floyd's name, but also saying that he deserves justice. Now, this was before we knew that George Floyd had a fatal dose of fentanyl in his system. And this is before we knew that George Floyd was complaining about not being able to breathe when he was standing up, when he was sitting down, and that he actually had asked officers to put him on the ground so he could lay down instead of sitting in the cop car. But this is Trump before all of that. This is him saying George Floyd's name, just a clear evidence that Ted Wheeler's lying.
Good evening, President Trump making remarks now in the Rose Garden.
By the brutal death of George Floyd. My administration is fully committed that for George and his family, justice will be served. He will not have died in vain. But we cannot allow the righteous cries and peaceful protesters to be drowned out by an angry mob. The biggest victims of the rioting are peace-loving citizens in our poorest communities. And as their president, I will fight to keep them safe.
So that is Donald Trump doing what Ted Wheeler just claimed he didn't do. Ted Wheeler insinuated that one of the reasons that Jay Bishop died is because of Donald Trump's hate and division. He won't even say the names of black people who have been killed by police. It's just a lie. But that is the new, this is just to show how connected elected Democrat leaders are with the mobs in the street. The mobs in the street, I don't know if you've seen the videos, they are now going up to police officers, shouting in their face and demanding that they say the names of people that they claim have been killed by police brutality. And that if the officer doesn't stop what he's doing and say the name, that they're obviously racist. You see these same people go into restaurants and demanding that people who are eating at a restaurant all of a sudden stop what they're doing and say Black Lives Matter. Otherwise, apparently they're going to get beaten up or shamed or whatever. Pressuring them to say something. And if you don't say it, you're a racist or whatever. Ted Wheeler is taking that play right out of Antifa's playbook. And it's not true. But here is the biggest lie. This is Ted Wheeler claiming that it's impossible for him to fix something that Donald Trump created. Saying that Donald Trump created the rioting in his city.
And it's you who claimed that white supremacists are good people. Your campaign of fear is as anti-democratic as anything you've done to create hate and vitriol in our beautiful country. You've tried to divide us more than any other figure in modern history. And now you want me to stop the violence that you helped create.
Incredible. incredible to suggest that it's Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump's fault. Pretty remarkable. But we know it's not Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump offered to send federal agents in, and they rejected it. They absolutely rejected it. This is what we're dealing with. Let me talk about this, because we had a post on our Facebook page over the weekend that went viral, and we wrote it. We try to write as many of these as we can. Sometimes we share memes that other people create, but I wanted to share this one because I think it actually does a pretty good job of explaining what's going on. We posted over the weekend basically explaining what's going through the Democrats' heads and why they are scrambling to all of a sudden change the narrative. Now, remember, for months, they've been saying that the rioting isn't happening. They're saying that these are peaceful protesters. Anyone who says that they're violent, obviously you're against peaceful protesters or something. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? So for weeks, months, they've been saying that these are peaceful protests. We've covered on the show the CNN graphic of fiery but mostly peaceful protest, and then behind him is a building on fire, right? There was MSNBC, the other one, who said mostly peaceful protests as the building's burning behind him. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But this is what's going on. A week and a half ago, Democrats began realizing that their convention was a failure. That if you want to basically convince people to vote for you, you're going to need to put a little bit more effort in than a glorified Zoom meeting or a glorified Skype conference call, which is what it was. Shortly thereafter, they received polling showing that Joe Biden had been made more likable, but hadn't gotten a bump in the polls compared to Trump. More people liked Joe Biden, but they were not willing to vote for him. Why? Because he's likable, but the Democrats' policies are batshit crazy. That's what that poll tells you. Right before the RNC began, Joe Biden's campaign then saw the same Zogby poll that we all did, showing that Donald Trump was surging among Black, Hispanic, and Asian voters, that he had 52% total approval, and Black, Asian, and Hispanic Americans all supported him over 30%. I think a couple of them were over 35% approval. If Donald Trump gets 30% plus support of the Black vote, it's done. A Democrat cannot win if Donald Trump wins 30% of the Black vote nationwide. It just can't happen. Democrats are counting on Black Americans voting for them the way they always have. Anyway, then the Republican convention began, and Joe Biden's campaign panicked even more. Americans were clearly getting fed up with the rioting and the looting. They were looking to Trump to do what the Democrats refused to do, which was even address it. And the RNC delivered. We saw every single night them highlighting the looting, highlighting how Democrats were encouraging it, and then presenting a stronger vision of America where we don't burn down our cities, we rebuild them. So the Biden campaign found themselves in a catch-22, similar kind of to the one we're facing today. If Biden condemned his own supporters, then he would be condemning his base. He cannot condemn the rioters and the looters because they are Biden supporters, they are Biden voters. So he can't do that. But if he says nothing, then the independents who care about their cities not burning down, they're going to keep going to Trump. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's campaign rolled out what I call the most paradoxical campaign message ever. They admitted the riots are real. They're happening. But it's Donald Trump's fault. That's Joe Biden's new message. What you see around you is not being caused by Democrats. That's Donald Trump's America. And if you vote for me, it'll stop. I mean, talk about like hostage logic, right? Vote for me and I'll stop burning down your cities. Vote for me and my supporters will stop burning down your cities, or else. They blame Trump, not the Democrats doing the rioting or the Democrat politicians allowing it to happen. And in doing so, Biden hopes that this new campaign message will give independents what they want to hear, a Democrat who admits that cities are being burned down, but cover for his own base so that they won't feel like he's blaming them. Let's do a quick troll patrol. We got a troll. Which one's a troll? Comment on his post and I can ban him. It's too hard for me to scroll up and find the troll. If you find the troll, just comment troll on his post as a reply and I can follow it back. So let's talk about his killer, the suspected killer, the suspect under investigation for allegedly killing Jay Bishop. His name is Michael Forrest Reinl. Interesting tattoo. Notice the tattoo on his neck. Again, this is alleged. These pictures, other people have done the verification. I can't verify they look like the same person. They do. The guy on the left, I watched that video. He says his name is Michael. So it's easy to put two and two together. That individual, let me go ahead and put this up. Sorry. As I mentioned at the start, I'm producing the show today. My producer, Josh, is absent. He's on vacation. Everyone in the comment section, let me know what you think about Josh taking a vacation. All right, here is Michael Reinolds' Instagram account. He has a picture of some kind of street mural. And he writes, every revolution needs people that are willing and ready to fight. There are so many of us protesters that are just protesting without a clue of where that will lead. That's just the beginning. That's where the fight starts. If that's as far as you can take it, thank you for your participation. But please stand aside and support the ones who are willing to fight. I am 100% Antifa all the way. I am willing to fight for my brothers and sisters, even if some of them are too ignorant to realize what Antifa truly stands for. We do not want violence, but we will not run from it either. If the police continue to pick on and beat up innocent civilians that are peacefully voicing their objections, and he goes on, I didn't screenshot the rest. That is the man suspected, being investigated for killing Jay Bishop. Let's make sure you all hit the share button, like the video if you haven't already, and leave a couple comments. I want to play this because this, let me see if I can find a way to do this. Here we go. Okay. This is what's truly disgusting. We're going to play the video of what happened in Portland. Anyone who's just joined, the reason I can't do that is because the minute that shows up on the screen, Facebook will label this as a graphic video. But I can show you the video, courtesy of Andy No, showing that when Antifa learned that Jay Bishop, they didn't know his name then, but they knew that he was part of Patriot Prayer, an organization that basically counter-protests them. They celebrated. They laughed, they cheered, they clapped. Let's watch the video.
Angry, you're not paying attention. If y'all are not angry, you're not with me. Everybody wake up. Everybody needs to realize what's going on in these streets. Our community can hold its own without the police. We can take out the trash on our own. I am not sad that a fucking fascist died tonight. Y'all are not angry, you're not paying.
So that is what was happening on the streets of Portland immediately after Antifa learned that one of the members of Patriot Prayer had been shot and killed. They said, we don't need the police. We can take the trash out on our own. They said they're not sad that someone got killed. You saw people clapping. You saw people celebrating. That's what we're up against, folks. Someone was killed, gunned down. Because he was a Trump supporter, because he was a conservative, because he was part of this organization, or at least supported the organization Patriot Prayer, who was against Antifa. He got shot and killed, and the thugs in the city celebrated it and described it as, if the cops won't do it, we'll take out the trash ourselves. Shameful, shameful people. But I want to talk about this other claim that's coming out, that Michael Reinolds had a weapons charge against him. This is interesting. He had a weapons charge. Let me pull this up on the screen right now. Oh, come on. Here we go. He had a weapons charge against him for a crime committed at an earlier Portland protest. So here is right from Oregon Live. Man under investigation. Oh, sorry, you're seeing my fish tank ads. Yeah, I have a fish tank. It's how I've been dealing with the pandemic. Man under investigation in fatal shooting after pro-Trump rally allegedly took loaded gun to earlier Portland protest. So here they describe Jay Bishop as his other name. The other name he goes by Aaron Danielson. He goes by both names. So a 48-year-old man who was accused of carrying a loaded gun at an earlier downtown Portland protest is under investigation in the fatal shooting Saturday night of a right-wing demonstrator. Funny how they do that. Interestingly enough, let me take this off for a second. The Associated Press recommends against people using the word right-wing because it doesn't actually describe anything. So all these outlets claim to be using the AP style guide, but they always throw in right wing, as if that actually means something. Let's go back to reading it. Michael Forrest Reinl calls himself an anti-fascist and has posted videos and photos of demonstrations he attended since late June, accompanied by the hashtag Black Lives Matter and such. Let me find where it is. Here we go. On July 5th, at one of the demonstrations, Reinl was cited at 2:10 a.m. in the 700 block of Southwest Main Street on allegations of possessing a loaded gun in a public place, resisting arrest, and interfering with police. He was given a date to appear in court later that month, but the allegations were dropped on July 30th with a no complaint. Documents don't indicate why prosecutors decided not to pursue the accusations. Reinl spent no time behind bars. So this man, again, innocent until proven guilty, suspected of killing Jay Bishop, also known as Aaron Danielson. The man suspected of killing him, let's put up his face again, Michael Forrest Reinl. I don't even care if I mispronounce this scumbag's name. He was arrested in early July and cited with carrying a loaded gun illegally in public. That is a felony. His charges were dropped. He was also accused of interfering with police and resisting arrest. His charges were dropped as he was one of the hundreds of peaceful protesters that had their charges dropped by the prosecutors in Portland as a political stunt, not charging the rioters, saying, oh no, in the name of social justice, we're not going to charge you. Hundreds of them got away scot-free, didn't face any charges. This guy would have been in prison, likely, if those charges were brought forward and were pursued. Resisting arrest, interfering with police business, illegally carrying a loaded gun in public, those are major crimes. He probably, who knows, maybe he would be declared innocent, maybe he would have gotten let off with probation, who knows. But if they pursued the charges, this scumbag, again, only the suspect, we don't know, he hasn't been charged yet. The suspect, the alleged shooter, probably would have been behind bars on the night that Jay Bishop, Aaron Danielson, was killed. He would have been behind bars. But he wasn't. He was free to roam the streets night after night. And he brought a gun to a protest, a peaceful protest, again, but this time he used it to kill someone, allegedly. Got to add that point, allegedly. Jay Bishop would probably still be alive if the Portland District Attorney, Portland prosecutors did their job. If they stopped letting politics guide their prosecutions. Shameful. Shameful, 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 shameful. Okay, let me do a little troll patrol. Yeah. I'll get these people later. I don't want to, I have so many moving parts right now. I don't want to do too many troll patrol right now because then I won't be able to talk about what we have to talk about today. So we have that guy, Michael Forrest Reinl. Not only was he charged with illegally bringing a gun to a previous peaceful protest, charged with resisting arrest, interfering with police business, let off the hook. He was also, let me see if I can find this one. He was also, pull it up. Come on, load. He was also charged of drunk driving. Let's see if we can get this to work. Here we go. Baker City Herald. Michael Forrest Reinl. Again, there might be two of them, the exact same age with the exact same middle name, exact same spelling of that last name. Who knows? But I think these are the same people. And until someone tells me otherwise, I'm going to assume they're the same people. He did mention in one video that he has a son, so that makes sense. A Clackamas man, I'm sure that's a normal sounding town for anyone who lives in the area, but it's funny to say for the first time. And his teenage son were both arrested early Monday after an Oregon State police trooper, saw the pair apparently racing at over 100 miles per hour in separate vehicles on Interstate 84 near North Powder. The father, Michael Forrest Reinl, 48, was charged with driving under the influence of a controlled substance, recklessly endangering another person, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Wow. He was also cited for driving while uninsured, driving while suspended, and for speeding. So I want to make sure that everyone understands this. This happened in June, early June. He was cited for driving under the influence of a controlled substance, recklessly endangering another person, and unlawful possession of a firearm. He was charged. Obviously, he wasn't prosecuted or convicted, because if he was prosecuted for unlawful possession in June, he probably would be in prison right now. But then we saw in July, he was again cited for unlawful possession of a firearm. If this is the same Michael Forrest Reinhold, the same one, right? He was again cited in July for unlawful possession of a firearm. But again, he wasn't prosecuted. The charges were dropped. Now, fast forward to end of August, and this same person is suspected of using that unlawful firearm to shoot and kill an innocent person. And the left has the audacity, nay, the shame, to say this is Donald Trump's doing. Donald Trump let the alleged suspected killer off the hook on 2 previous weapon charges this summer in different incidents. That was Donald Trump's doing? No, that was the politicized prosecutors in the city and in the state that let him off the hook. It's not Donald Trump's doing. These people are insane. They think that they can actually twist this. They think they can actually spin this to make Donald Trump responsible for what's happening in Democrat-run cities. But I think that if the media, J.P. Leonard said, nay, the shame, he laughed. Yeah, no, but it's true. Fine, maybe a little overly dramatic, but it's true. It's shameful. And here's the problem. Here is why I need everyone to hit the share button if you haven't already. We just covered that this man, the alleged suspected killer of Jay Bishop, Michael Forrest Reinhold, that he had not 1 but 2 previous citations for unlawful possession of a firearm that obviously were not prosecuted. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out and about able to shoot someone again. This is not Donald Trump's doing. These are the Democrats responsible for this. But they truly believe that if you repeat a lie enough, eventually people will believe it. Which is why every single Democrat today is saying this is Donald Trump's America. Absolutely shameful. So, we're here. It's been about an hour. Anyone who didn't know this, we refrained from sharing and playing the video of the shooting itself, because the minute we do, Facebook more than likely is going to label our channel as graphic, this video. And I didn't want to do that, because the minute they do, our viewership drops. Right now, we have 1,300 people watching. Excellent. I thought we made a great show today. I thought it was a great case. If you like this show, and it's the first time watching us, make sure you like and follow our page, first of all. Also, in our description, there's a bunch of ways you can subscribe to the podcast in audio form and to join our newsletter if you like what we do. But make sure you like and follow our page, because we have a lot of people watching, and we go live every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern. With our podcast, hour-long podcast, long-form discussions on topics. So make sure you like and follow our page and check out the links in the description. But I mentioned earlier that we didn't play the video because I didn't want Facebook to throttle our reach. And obviously, me choosing to hold off on playing the video until the end paid dividends, because if I played it, we probably would have 200, 300 people watching right now, and we have 1,300. So I'm going to play the video. I don't think this is graphic. But I say this knowing, hold on, I just got a troll alert. Kyle should have just been home, just like the back of the blue guy. Yeah, no, that's, I don't know if that's a troll, but that's definitely a bad comment. I'm going to play the video. I don't consider this to be graphic, but I also understand that this is a video of a man being shot. And it deserves enough sincerity and enough solemnity to show this in a serious way, because this is a video of a man losing his life. So while I disagree with Facebook labeling us as graphic, I do understand that this is not footage that should be played lightly, because it shows someone's life being snuffed out, allegedly by an individual who had 2 previous weapons charges that were either not prosecuted or pled down in the interest of social justice. Chris Galladay says, first time watching your show. Good show. I'm now a follower. Welcome, Chris. Again, anyone who likes it, make sure you like and follow our page. I'm going to play the footage. I have 2 different cuts. I'm going to play the full video, and then I'm going to play a version of it that's a little slowed down, that is steadied so it's not shaky, so you can actually see what happens. But first, I'm going to play the full video of what happened in Portland. So, I'll play it again. Like and follow our page. Make sure you hit the share button now, because Facebook is going to come down on us for graphic. Hopefully they don't, because I didn't make it full screen, but they will eventually. Make sure you hit that share button. That is the shooting. I'm going to play it again. When I originally heard it, I heard him saying, oh, there's a Trumpster. And I know a lot of people heard it too. I listened to it slowed down, and it didn't sound like he was saying that, but slowing down the audio doesn't even always make that easier to determine. The shooter, or someone who's with the shooter, definitely called out Jay Bishop as something, either a Trumpster or a couple of whatever. They called him out. And then you can hear someone saying, right here, like this one, and they say, yeah, and he fires. So let's go ahead. I'll play it again, and then I'm going to play the slowed down, zoomed in, steadier version of it. So that is a lot of smoke. That was my first impression. That's a lot of smoke. That's enough smoke. You'd expect that much smoke out of like a black powder rifle, right? Not a modern handgun. Modern handguns don't produce that much smoke, which made me question what was going on here. Is this guy running around with a flintlock like a flintlock pistol? No. I mean, maybe, who knows? A lot of felons do carry, amazingly enough, a lot of felons do use flintlocks because you can buy them without a background check. It's still illegal to possess them if you load it, right? But you can buy a kit to make a flintlock pistol yourself online, even if you have a felony. That's not me encouraging you to do it, but that's how a lot of felons are able to get away with having some way to defend himself. Yeah, the fact they shot twice, I mean, it could have been one of those like double barrels, but yeah, too much smoke. What I'm hearing now, I'll play again, see if you can see what I'm seeing. What I'm hearing, people, is that he might have, the suspect or one of the perpetrators might have also sprayed bear spray or mace or some kind of aerosol, some kind of spray deterrent, right? Aerosolized. Thank you. Took me a while. Aerosolized kind of bear spray or something. That is what people are saying. So let's play it again and see if you can tell that it's definitely too much smoke to come out of one firearm, unless you're talking, as I said, about a black powder firearm, which suggests that someone also used bear spray or mace or something. So let's watch it again. Amazing. That's right in the inner city. It's right in downtown Portland. That's Trump's America? That's not Trump's America. That's Ted Wheeler's city, right? That's a blue state. That's what happens when people are allowed to riot for 3 months without any consequences. Is it any surprise that when people are allowed to riot for 3 straight months, eventually they start killing people in the streets? It's not a surprise. And I don't want to speak ill of anyone who lost their life, but the big difference, it seems, at this point, between Jay Bishop and Kyle Rittenhouse is that Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun. We covered this last week. If Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have a gun, we saw from the video that there was a convicted felon charging him with a handgun. It is entirely possible that Kyle Rittenhouse would have faced this same fate if he had not had a firearm to defend himself that night. That is not Donald Trump's America. That's what happens when blue Democrats obtain power. They don't prosecute their Democrat supporters when they riot and they assault and they commit crimes. Jay just wrote that, a bullet hit a can of mace he was carrying. That's entirely possible. I mean, that's a big enough plume of smoke that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense than the guy carrying a flintlock revolver. Hold on, I gotta ban someone. This guy just said that the guy who killed Jay Bishop was a hero. I mean, these are scum that we're talking about, people. But that makes a lot more sense. The bullet hitting something he was carrying. That makes a lot more sense. I hadn't seen that yet. I'd also seen that Jay might have sprayed the mace, seeing someone approaching him with a firearm. I've seen other videos of that same Michael Reinl in other shots during the evening with his hand on his pistol on the holster, suggesting he might have been a little trigger happy too. But it makes complete sense. And I have heard that people are saying that pepper spray or bear spray was involved. It makes a lot more sense. His friend, Melody says his friend said he was holding a can of mace bear spray that got hit when he was shot. That, again, if that's what one of the eyewitnesses say, then obviously that makes a lot of sense. It's it's sad, right? But I also posted over the weekend on our page, is this the beginning of the next civil war? I don't know. I hope not. I say this, I say that, and we'll end with this. I say this every show. People accuse me of wanting to foment civil war. I don't. I have a 2.5-year-old son, and I have another baby on the way. I don't want civil war. Anyone who wants civil war obviously doesn't understand how destructive that would be. Not just to society, but to ourselves, right? I don't want that. But I'm also smart enough to realize that when people are being gunned down in the streets and Democrat politicians are saying it's the president's fault when they are the ones who are letting it happen. In this case, the alleged suspected shooter literally being let off the hook for not one, but 2 firearm possession crimes this summer alone. Saying that it's Donald Trump's fault? No, it's their fault. Absolutely, it's their fault. But no, I don't want civil war. But that doesn't mean that I don't recognize what's happening. It doesn't mean I don't see that we are closer today than we were this time last week. And it's not Donald Trump's doing. Not at all. I saw a tweet over the weekend, and it was so spot on. I didn't copy it. What it said was that at some point we need to have the conversation that there is a semi-professional class of individuals going around the country and fomenting these riots. At some point we have to have the conversation because these are not organic. There is a semi-professional class of people who are supporting this. At some point we have to start talking about that because yes, they are driving us closer and closer to a civil war. I don't want it, but I'm not going to ignore that it's happening. Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for this edition of the podcast. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I think, we're about an hour. This is where I give the little spiel. If this is your first time on the show, welcome. Make sure you check out all the links in our description. Make sure you like and follow our page so you get notifications. We go live every 2 p.m. Monday through Friday with hour-long, long-form discussions about topics. Tomorrow, Joe Otto will be back on. He wasn't on today. So make sure you like and follow our page. There's also ways that you can subscribe to our audio form of our podcast. That way, if you can't watch it live as we go live, you can make sure that you get the audio version. You can listen to it as you go about your day. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. So basically everywhere that you go for your podcast, make sure that you subscribe there. We also have a link in our description for you to sign up for our email newsletter. That's where we send call to action emails about important things happening in Washington, D.C. that need your attention. That's also going to be how we communicate with people if our Facebook page gets taken down, right? How we communicate, how we're going to continue doing the show. Because the show is proven to be too successful to allow anyone to get in the way. So make sure that you follow our page and sign up for our email newsletter. We also have a link for our t-shirt store if you want to help support the channel. Buy some merch. If you don't, it's fine, but make sure you check that out. So again, my name is Max McGuire. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember that the fight to take back our country clearly isn't over, but the only way we win is if we all stand and fight together.